Welcome back, everyone, to our playthrough of the career mode here in NASCAR Heat 2. First of all, I have to apologize for my voice. I am under the weather here, and so some of these recordings over the next probably several days to a week or so, feeling pretty rough right now, so I'm going to do the best I can, and if my voice will hang in there with me, maybe we can get through it. So now we just finished up our very first hot seat offer of the year in Cup, and that was at Martinsville. So I think Martinsville went great, and in fact, as I mentioned toward the end of that video, we finished 8th, and we were by no means dominating that race. We weren't just passing them left and right as we worked our way through the field. So I think there's a little bit of room to let ourselves go a little bit faster and give ourselves a chance for not only top 5, but maybe even a win in that race. So that is a great sign to me that going forward, we have a little bit of room to work there. Now, of course, that was with a 3-star team, but realistically, that means that we lost a little bit of grip, but a lot of horsepower, So, of course, that's going to equalize some going forward as we run more races at Martinsville in a 4- or 5-star team. But again, mission accomplished for the setup for that racetrack. The combination of car and setup was really good. But now we're on to Texas, and we're back in the Xfinity car. So Texas is going to be another high-speed, mile-and-a-half type track. So I'm going to make another maybe adjustment or two to the car, and we're going to see if we can slow it down just a little bit more. We've gotten a couple of wins this season, and I want to see if I can back some of those wins down to at least a top 5 with maybe a chance late in the race for a victory if we can get there. So that's sort of my goal going forward. We're going to continue playing with this setup and seeing what we can get. So now, let's head to Texas. Now that we're at the track, let's take a quick look at the setup before we begin the race. Again, not a whole lot has changed here. Weight settings, the same. Spring settings, the same. 1,000 pounds, 1,200 pounds in the front, 350 pounds across both rear springs, which really serves to hurt the way the car rotates. Tire settings are based on the track, so they change from time to time. Miscellaneous settings, the one thing I did here is I've been using up around 8.5 for the track bar. I've now lowered that to 7 inches, and boy, let me tell you, this track you can run wide open in the Xfinity car, or if you don't run it wide open, you can run it with just a little bit of lift on corner entry to 1. I can't get anywhere near that right now running this, so this should make for a fun race. So I did change that, and then of course the gear settings are going to be based on the track itself. So there's our setup. Now let's get to the race. All right, so we are green at Texas. We are starting 30th. Oh, and I'm already tight. Okay, we're in the middle of 3 wide, I think, which is not where I want to be at all. All right, we got to lift. Oh, my goodness, yeah. We definitely got to lift, and we got to lift a lot on corner entry. All right, so again, the only laps I ran was 1 lap of qualifying. I ran 0 laps of practice because part of the fun of running the race like this is to try to find a rhythm and try to figure out what I've got and how I can best drive with that to make up some spots. So right now you can see we're in no big hurry about passing cars. Can I get up here and pass any cars at all? I'm not sure I can. This thing is tight. I've got a lot of wheel in it. And there we go. We're getting run off the road here. All right, yeah, in fact, all we've done so far in the race is go backwards. Oh, I'm real tight. All right, let's see if we can. All right, I'm going to lift a lot more on entry, see if we can't calm things down a little bit, let these AI get a little more single file, and hopefully we can make some passes. I know we're faster than these guys. The question is, can we pass them? Yeah, I'm having to lift a little bit on corner exit here. middle of 3 wide is definitely not what I had in mind. Completely out of the throttle going on corner entry. Let's see if I can stay in the throttle on exit. No, I cannot. So yeah, this setup is definitely achieving the goal that we set out for, which is to slow us way down. Well, we've done it. Now we're just going to see how far up through the field we can make it. I'm going to try to stick to the bottom as much as I can. All right, we got a good run on these guys. Once again, completely out of the throttle on corner entry. I'm trying not to touch the brake simply because that will kill our momentum. Yeah, I'm just having to get completely off the throttle. In fact, just to make sure I'm completely off the throttle, I'm actually picking my foot completely off the accelerator. I'm sure you can hear that where I'm completely off the gas. All right, not bad. So we've made it to the top 20. Now, the top 15 is our next goal. Oh yeah, good run through the corner there. We'll make that pass. Very nice. The RPMs aren't too bad. We're getting up to around 85, 8,600, it looks like. Turn, maybe turn. There we go. Had to breathe it a little bit in the center there, but that enabled me to stay in the throttle on corner exit. Anytime you have to lift the throttle on corner exit, it just kills your momentum. So if I'm going to have to lift again, I want it to be in the center of the corner, or preferably just before the center of the corner, so that once I get back to the throttle, I can stay in it. All right, let's see what we got here. Okay, we made it that time. A major victory. We were able to stay in the throttle off the corner. This is the first of our test, really. Can we run down these guys in front of us? We're in 18th. And can we run these guys down, and how quickly can we run them down? And to do that, we're going to use the A button a couple of times, bring up the leaderboard, and see that 7/10 and 9/10 of a second is what we are behind right now. Let's see if we can close that gap and how quickly we can close it. Oh, very good run through the corner there. Oh yeah, we're definitely closing on them, and you can tell that just visually. I could already tell when I got back to the throttle that I was in way too hard too early there. There we go. Can I get to the inside of Jones? I cannot. He is blocking me heavily. It's an interesting maneuver, blocking when you're just inside the top 20. All right, he is keeping up with us on the outside. I can hear his throttle. And he was definitely keeping up with us, because he was in the throttle more than I was. All right, so that's 17th place now. Let's work on 16th. And as you can see in front of us, for the most part, things are a lot more strung out now that we've run a few laps. I'm going to go ahead and turn the leaderboard off. So 13 laps into the race. And the AI are a lot more calm. This would give you reason to run longer races. Not that I need a whole lot of pushing in that direction, because I love longer races. The longer the better in general for me. But in this game, I shy away from it for a few reasons. but this is one of the reasons to do longer races, is that if you can just be patient at the beginning of the race, then the AI will get stretched out and you can actually run pretty good races with them. They definitely have their flaws, but a lot of their flaws I find are based on the fact that they run very close together and they're not sure what to do. They're not sure how to handle that when they're really close to other cars. So they end up making very erratic moves, on and off the brakes in a hurry, making sharp turns to the left or right, that kind of thing is no good. That makes it impossible to race against them. We saw some of that at the Martinsville race, where cars would dive bomb the bottom in the center of the corner and basically come run across our nose. Ooh, car very tight there. All right, so lap 16 of 26, and we are hunting the top 15. We're in 16th right now, and of course 15th is right ahead of us, but we're not catching them all that quickly. And I have to tell you, I have, unfortunately, I don't have a camera so that you guys can see the huge smile that is on my face right now, because we're running 16th, and I am actually not sure we're going to catch 15th right here. So the huge smile is because that is a breakthrough. That tells me that with a 5-star team, what's more important than whether it's a 3, a 4, or a 5-star team is the setup that you have. We can use the setup to override pretty much anything. And it is definitely working wonders at Texas, so I am very happy about this. Just made it there. All right, let's go back to the A button a couple of times. Because Harrison Rhodes, I'm actually not sure that we are getting any closer to him. So we'll keep track of it at 1.2 seconds. And we'll see if over the next few laps we're able to actually get closer to him. Right now, I'm not sure we are. Yeah, I don't know that we are. It's oscillating between 1.1 and 1.2 seconds, which, if anything, tells me we might be on some laps or some parts of the lap, we're a little bit faster than him, but not really enough to run him down at this point. If anything, we're gaining slowly on him. All right, so we'll take that back off. Oops, what I get for hitting the button too many times. We're definitely better in 3 and 4 than we are 1 and 2, and that's exactly what you would expect based on the configuration of the track. All right, now he has slowed down some, and we're getting a little closer to him. And I think that part of that has to do with how close he gets to the cars in front of him. When he pulls up closer to them, he slows down a little bit because he's not able to pull out and pass them. I'd like to be able to say that that was sort of an arrow push type deal, but I don't think it is in this game. All right, 5 more laps to go. And how about this? We are in 16th and we are not catching 15th. All right, we got a slower car here on the bottom. It looks to be, oh yeah, yep, that's the 22. And now we are in the top 15. How about that for an easy pass? So he had some sort of issue. All right, so we'll be coming, I believe, to 3 to go. And we are getting a little bit closer, I think, but I just don't know that we're going to have enough time to do anything about it. right, that wasn't a bad run through 1 and 2. And you can hear just how much I'm off the gas, trying to get this thing to turn. There we go, 2 to go. Just that little bit of lifting in the center of the corner seems to be what's required to get this thing to get all the way off the corner without having to lift again. All right, I'm going to drive this thing as hard as I can for these last 2 laps, and even harder than I have been. Not that I've been holding back, but you're always trying stuff. Stay in the gas. All right, we made it. All right, so here we are coming off the final corner, and I'm not going to be able to get to him. So Harrison Rhodes, woo, right up on the wall. And so we'll bring it home 15th. So how about that? A 1.5 mile track, and we came home 15th. That is excellent. I love it. Let's go ahead and run through these last few screens. All right, that gives me great ideas going forward on what we can do on the bigger tracks. All right, so that leaves us in the point standing, still first, but our point lead is now down to 8. Also in the top 10, you notice there are no multiple race winning cars except for us. But how about eighth place, number 51, Jeremy Clements, who gets a win. Wow, that would be huge for a team like that to get into the playoffs. Very well done by the 51 team. So the fastest lap, 30.6. Again, I really don't know how close or how far away from that we were. So the most laps led, Jeremy Clements, 20 laps led, and I assume this is the race that he won. I really wasn't paying attention to this. I know he's won a race, but it appears as though it was actually this one. Interesting that the 51 team would have this much speed on a 1.5 mile track. All right, so now we've got Harrison Rhodes, ironically enough, the guy we just finished behind, who's got a message for us.
Hey, your driving has been really smooth out on the racetrack lately. Awesome job. If you keep this up, your rivals just might become your friends. And believe me, that's going to make your life a lot easier.
Speaking of which, I need to look and see if we have any rivals or any neutrals or whatever at this point. All right, we'll take a look at that a little bit, probably in our next video. But for now, it looks like we've got the Levine Family Racing, the 95 car, which Casey Kane will pilot next year, has offered us a ride. So let's see where we're going to be racing. And, I see at the bottom of the screen, we're still on week 7. So we're at Texas. Wow. So we could use your help driving the 95 car at Texas this Sunday, get a top 22 finish, and we might consider working with you in the future. All right, very nice. So we're going to get to run Texas twice, and we're going to get to try out this setup in both the Xfinity and the Cup car. So I can't wait to do that. We'll see how this setup does in the Cup ride, but of course that will be in our next video. For now, thank you very much for joining me, and stay tuned for more NASCAR Heat 2.